Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Author Entrepreneur Collective, the podcast where nonfiction authors and purpose driven entrepreneurs share the stories, strategies, and mindset shifts that turn lived experience into impact and income. I'm your host, Stacy Matson, author of Bucket List Living, Living Your Purpose, and owner of Bucket List Unlimited. Today, I'm excited to welcome Nicholas Trevillian. Nicholas is a speaker, business coach, author, podcast host, and founder of the Triumphant Entrepreneur. His branding systems and social media strategies have added millions of revenue to small business owners who have implemented his teachings. Nicholas, can you tell us a little bit about you, your book, and your business?
Well, that's just the nicest, warmest welcome a guy could get. I feel so loved here. I'm so pumped you reached out. Stacy, this is amazing. Guys, a little bit about me. I'm an entrepreneur like a lot of you listening. I'm a content creator like a lot of you listening. And yeah, I started a podcast because I wanted to share my message with people. It's called Triumphant with me, Nicky T, Nicholas Trevillian. I wrote a book because I thought it would help people. And I wrote a book about the things that had helped me in life. So I love what you're doing here. So a little bit about me. I've just been a business owner for 2 decades now, 20 years. I am officially going gray in the beard. I've been doing entrepreneurship so long. But yeah, I love content. I love helping people. We help people create content and run paid ads. And it's incredible. So I just love what you're doing here and truly honored to be one of your guests today.
Thank you so much. So we have a lot of our listeners are nonfiction authors, and they may or may not have businesses. They might want to start a business. Do you have any suggestions or advice for them
To
to
start a business,
market their book and their business?
yeah, I do actually. And here's what I really love about writing a book or sharing your story. Here's what I found. Your story matters. Our successes matter and people can learn from them. Our mistakes and our failures matter. Your mess can truly become your mission. And I'm living proof of this, that you don't have to do things always perfect. You know, Stacey, I don't know about you, but when we came out as little babies, they didn't give us a manual on how to do this thing called life, and I think a lot of us, we do our best, we try our best, and sometimes things don't work out, whether that's in business, life, relationships, you name it. And I think there's nothing more pure or beautiful than somebody taking their message and sharing that with others to make an impact. Ed Milet has a quote that I absolutely love. He says, "You're best prepared to help the person that you used to be." And so the advice I would have for your authors or people creating content, no matter what that is remember what that was like to be where you were at 5 or 10 years ago. So for example, just to make an easy example, let's say one of your listeners went on this beautiful weight loss journey and they lost 100 pounds for themselves. I think they're best prepared to help somebody who wants to lose 50 or 100 pounds because they have lived it. And so, what I would share with you is get out of your head and into your heart. Whether that's writing your chapters or getting on camera, no matter what that is, it's not about you anymore. It's about that person who's watching you on social media, looking for hope, looking for help. And I've been recording content for many, many years. And I can look back now and tell you life after life, story after story, human after human, heartbeat after heartbeat whose life was a little bit better because of my content. And I see them. They'll come up to me at one of my conferences. They'll message me and say, "Hey, dude, I really needed to hear that." Or, "Hey, your concept helped me or changed my life." And I would say to anybody listening, get your book done and share that with the world. Start the show and start your message because it's not about you. And I think the one piece of advice I have is just get out of your head into your heart and just start talking to previous you or maybe somebody that you've helped make a transformation. Just go speak to them because they're out there. And I just think it's the most beautiful thing on the planet that knowing my story could help somebody. Like, man, I messed up and you can learn from that. Yeah. And that's a lot of my book and that's a lot of my content or some things I did really well and share that. And to me, I love the power of social media or a podcast like this or YouTube or a book. A book is a vehicle to share your story. And I just know your story matters more than anything. And even if it just helps one person, I believe that's what God built us to do. And that was mission accomplished, my dear.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think that each one of us was created for a purpose, and that that purpose is to reach out to the only the people that we can reach out to. So like, you know, your audience is different than my audience and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Well, I think we reach out to them in our own unique ability, our own unique communication style. I call each one of us the Avengers. So if you look at the Avengers, the Marvel characters, each one on their own has to have they all have their own superpower, their own unique story, their own backstory, their own thing, right? And I just think that that's so cool that they're all individual superheroes and then you bring them together to, save the world. And I think each person individually has a unique story to share to the person that they know they can help or the person they want to help. And I think that that's really cool.
Exactly. So what advice would you give more on like the marketing side or ad side of how to for people to get their book seen?
Love it. One video per day, my dear. This is something I'm very known for. When I first wanted to start creating content, I started creating one video per day right from my iPhone. And why I'll suggest that is it's in your pocket. Maybe you have an Android or whatever, your smartphone that's in your pocket. All of them have great. I got a funny story for you. So I walked into Best Buy a few years ago and I wanted to be like a full-blown content creator, right? And I was looking at the cameras and they're $1,500 and $4,000 and stuff. And the Best Buy guy looks at me and he goes, "What are you trying to do?" And I go, "I don't know, like Instagrams and TikToks." He's like, "Dude, just do it on your phone." And I go, "Okay, why?" And he goes, "Well, Nick, you have to understand you have a 4K quality camera on your phone. That's honestly the same lens that these cameras have." And I go, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, your phone's already in your pocket, dude." And I appreciate that guy for saying that. And so what I suggest to anybody just marketing their business is pull out your phone one time per day and talk about your book, talk about your life, talk about a story, share a tip, share an idea, share a strategy, and start just talking about that. And then post that video to every social media platform you're on: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just post it every single day and start building and building and building and planting seeds and building a following and building your brand. If you look at what's really cool, like in our day and age, there's a lot of TikTok authors that have blown up solely because of TikTok. And it's like you're one video away, Stacy, from your entire life changing. And I know this. Like one video I posted in one day had 19,000 views. I got 300 new followers on one video. I'm like, dude, that's 300 human beings. 19,000 is a basketball stadium. I was like, a basketball stadium worth of people watched my little video today of me giving a speech. How cool is that? And I love that. So I would just say start with your phone, put your phone on a tripod and just start teaching. You don't need the big flashy studios. And I know this because I've done that. See, I ran to the big flashy studio and I spent $1,000 on the cameraman and the big lights and stuff. And then we paid to have the stages for my speeches and all that stuff. None of that really matters. Social media is social media. Where pull out your phone today and reach somebody. How cool is that to think about that? I could just record this on my iPhone selfie mode. Hey, what's up, guys? Here's a tip, here's an idea, and I could reach somebody or make a sale, or sell my book or sell my business or my coaching or whatever, one video per day, my dear. And if you just do that every single day, I have a saying, we call it 181. I say, do it for 6 months, 180 days. Put your head down for 180 days and call me on 181. That's it. I just go 181. And this applies to health, fitness, cutting out bad habits, reading, writing, content, excuse me, you name it, 181. If you put your head down for 6 months and you posted 180 videos, tell me you won't have more followers. You just will. It's just physically impossible. And yes, you might have to learn how to get some traffic to it, maybe boost a post up, but it's physically impossible. Like we just had a coach, an author in my program last month. She went and got 1,000 new followers. Do you realize how many people 1,000 human beings is off of her video? So I would just say one video per day, start documenting your life, talking about your book, read your book. I love it on TikTok when they're like, chapter 2. So there I was. I love it. Like, so what's happening? You're sitting down, you have authority. It's like reading chair with Mr. Rogers. I love it. Like, come close to the campfire, kids. Let me tell you a story. I think that is the neatest thing ever. Or like they'll film their books or they'll quote their books. Heck yeah. That's what I would do.
Yeah, so I have problems, me, but just like I can't sometimes I run out of content. What do you suggest when you do
Yeah.
that?
So we have a never ending content loop. Now watch this. If we really look around all day long for an experience that we had in the grocery store, a conversation with your kids or your spouse, a conversation with a client, watch, for example, right now, you have never ending content just from today. Hey, I was on an episode with my friend Nikki T, and here's what I learned. There's your piece of content for the day. I could say, hey, I was on a podcast today. So what I love is I call it the never ending content loop. I was in the sauna this morning. Could I tell a story about waking up and going sauna and cold plunge? 40 degrees is really cold, right? Like it is
Mhm.
freezing. Could I tell a story about that? Could I tell a story about an experience I had today, a thought I had today, a Bible verse, a quote, a piece of content? anything. And so what has to happen is we have to have our reticular activators. Boop, 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 scan. I just do this, scanning all day long. And scanning, and I'm looking for an idea. I'm just looking for something. And now here's the trick. You have to record it in the moment while it's fresh in your brain. The biggest mistake I ever made in content was I thought I was going to be super fancy, and I created a content ideas list. And I had 105 running ideas that I was going to get to later. Dude, if a video takes me 2 minutes to record, that's not a trick question. It's literally 2 minutes. Cool. Well, I should just record it in the moment while it's fresh in my mind. You know what I'm saying? And I would just be looking all day long on how would this add value to the world? And that's the one question I ask myself is, would this story add value to others? Would this experience add value to others? And oftentimes too, like even on my show, I'll talk about things I'm working on. Like I just put up an episode about manifesting and the laws of assumption from Neville Goddard. And I had been studying that, and I just talked for 30 minutes about what I had learned. Cool. It was on my mind. I had just read all that stuff that morning. I had just watched some of those TikToks. And so it was fresh in my mind. You know, today I just left the gym. I could talk about a thought that I had at the gym. I could talk about discipline. I could talk about accountability. I could talk about health and entrepreneurship. You see how I can never run out? Because then tomorrow there's a whole batch of, hey, Nikki, I got a question for you. Great. I could take that client's question. I could talk about a result I got for myself. I could talk about a lesson, something I did the wrong way, the right way. I could talk about a brand that I like. I could just keep going on and on and on. Anyway, I digress. Don't get me started on never-ending content.
So I know you're a big ads guy. Did you start out that way, or did you just kind of learn along the way?
It wasn't something I ever thought I would learn. I learned it out of necessity, my dear. See, we as content creators or brands or authors or businesses or whatever, we need our content seen by more people. That's all it simply is. And so I wanted to learn that so I could help more people. It's all I wanted. And yeah, when you help more people, Zig Ziglar said this, you get everything you want in life by helping other people get what they want. And what that means to me is if I help and serve more people, I'll make more money, which I'll be happier, I'll have more freedom, then I'll serve them even higher. And it just kind of goes round and round, right? And so what happened was I was posting content and nothing was being seen. And I had to learn how the algorithms of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram are set up, and YouTube, right? And I wanted more people seeing my message. So I learned ads out of necessity just to get my content seen. And that's all ads really are, is just a way of taking your exact video. I'll take videos. This is a wild. I'll take an exact video that I just normally post on an Instagram and literally just run that as an ad for like 25 bucks a day or 50 bucks a day and go get 10,000 views on it. It's just an eyeballs game, right? And so I learned it because it was a necessary skill that I had to learn. And it's really not that complex, which is wild. It's not hard to boost a post on TikTok or Facebook. Like even YouTube ads aren't that hard once you understand it, and just understand that I'm here to help people. And I think that that's kind of the cheat code for any author, business owner, brand, that I could take a video, I could go promote it as an ad or boost it, and I could go have 25,000 people see that tomorrow. Like, how amazing is that for 50 bucks, for 100 bucks? Like, so we used to run TV commercials for my brick and mortar business. I owned a real estate brokerage, and we literally ran TV commercials across the area in Phoenix, Arizona. And for me, because I had that background, all social media is, I call them social media TV commercials. And so we would pay the news station to flash my stuff during the news, or during, we would run commercials on a channel that had Seinfeld and MASH, the old shows at night, because we were working an older demographic, right? 50, 60 plus. And the same is true with social media. And that's what's so cool is it's literally the new TV commercial, because I don't know about you, whenever I'm streaming a show, I'm on my phone too. I was watching, are you into Landman yet? Have you seen Landman
No.
yet? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But I'm watching Landman last night, and like, it's so good, but I even caught myself scrolling TikTok at the same time. So it becomes a second screen. It becomes truly a TV screen. And I could record a 2-minute video, a 30-second video, say, hey, I got a book. Hey, I got this thing. And then what's crazy is they will literally put my video in front of the right people, which is so cool. And so your vibe attracts your tribe. And so if you're a stay-at-home mom and wrote a book for stay-at-home moms and how to teach your kids better, well, they're going to put that in front of more stay-at-home moms. And then what's crazy is the coolest people come in, they're like, hey, sis, I read your book. And you're like, wait, what? This is amazing. I'm a huge fan of paid ads, just because we have to have reach. That's all it simply is you need more people. That's it. You need more people. And here's what's wild is you don't have them now. And for me, somebody that has 500 followers or 1,000 followers, you're not bad at what you do. There's just not enough people seeing you. So we have to go get more people. And if you just reverse engineer most people's goals, hey, I want to sell 100,000 copies of my book. You have 300 friends, babe. Okay, cool. How are they going to find it? Well, they'll find it. No, they won't. They don't just magically go to Amazon. Like, that's the one thing about social media is, well, I posted, you posted to your friends and your family and they're proud of you and they love your stuff. What we have to do is get to this other ocean of people that are searching for it. And that's where you get into ads and stuff like that. And like, to get really granular on an author, there's somebody out there that wants your book. They're already interested in stuff like that. And all an ad would do is just put that in front of them. That's all social media is. And I'm such a fan of it because I've watched a video change my life. I've watched a video change other people's lives. It's just like, we have a client right now. I just talked to him yesterday. He ran one ad, Stacy, one ad last week. He has landed 14 sales and $56,000 of revenue in less than 6 days. I was like, wait, what? No, here's where it gets wild. One of those was a huge national franchise with 28 more stores off of one ad. He paid $25 a day. It was just a simple picture that he had normally posted on Instagram and Facebook. He just said, hey, show this to more people. There are 2.3 billion active users on Facebook and Instagram every day. 2.3 billion. And all he did was he said, hey, take my picture, show this to people that Meta thinks they would like it. And $56,000. I said, dude, how do you feel? And he goes, Nick, that just changed my life. And now they have another 150 grand potential on the other 28 stores. He spent $125, $25 a day in ads. Now let's bring that back home to an author. Do you realize the impact that you can make? Because authors are also, a lot of them are speakers and consultants and want to get on podcasts. So for me, you in essence invest into that. So yeah, maybe you're an author and you want your book promoted, but you can invest money to go get you on stages, to go get you on news stations, to go get you on radio shows. I get so excited about this because if you're truly somebody that wants to make an impact through your book and through your message, and we could literally, I could record a video talking to those people and they would see this tomorrow. That's just, it's mind blowing to me. Like, I know social media has been around a while. I consider it the gold rush right now. It's like the gold rush of social media. And I've just seen this happen again and again and again. Like, to post a video and go get 20,000 views in a day versus 200 that was organic. That's just mind boggling, my dear.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people like be so successful from that. And can you talk a little bit about like book funnels and how they work and if that would be good for an author to do?
Yeah, I have a book funnel. If you guys want to see one in action, go to triumphantbook.com. So it's triumphant, that word right there, triumphantbook.com. So what all a funnel simply is somebody getting your book and getting into your ecosystem, right? And so I've ran book funnels for years, like a book giveaway, an ebook giveaway, all that stuff. So the downside of Amazon is you don't get the person's data, like you don't get their name and phone number if they buy your book on Amazon. You get a royalty, which is really good. So if an author's listening to this and wants to, sell books and make $5, $8, $10 a book, that's amazing. Amazon's your place to be. They're the monster, right? However, some of us, like, I don't want you to buy a $5 book. I would rather you get into my ecosystem and I could sell you a course or coaching down the road, right? And so for that school of thought, yeah, we run like a free book giveaway or an ebook giveaway. You could have them buy it right off of your website. And so, yeah, we use some tools like that to market our books. And then the big focus there is to get leads, their name, phone number, and email address. So then we can nurture them with maybe your course or your consulting or a workshop that you have coming up. Huge fan. Book funnels are amazing.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about speaking gigs that you've gotten from like your book or your business?
I can. I really can. It's funny. A guy had me on his podcast a few years ago, and like we did, you and I, before the show, you're talking, and hey, cool, what's the show about? And I said, hey, man, I'm excited. How'd you find me? He goes, oh, Nick, I read your book. And I said, thank you. And he goes, yeah, dude, I really only like to have authors on because I'll read your book ahead of time, and I know your story, I know your systems, and then you and I get to have a really cool conversation about it. And I was like, wow, how neat. So I've gotten on many podcasts because of my book. I've been able to book speeches because of my book. So understand too, like somebody throwing an event, they want somebody that knows what they're doing. Like I'm going to get off track here, but I'll prove a point here. Um, we were going to throw a big conference, and I made the mistake of going to Facebook and saying, "Hey, we're looking for a female speaker. Nominate somebody below." Da 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 da. And Stacy, I must have had 150 me, right? And I'm like, I needed somebody in my mind though that I knew could hold a microphone, that had a system, that had thought out their stuff. I needed somebody that we could give their book to the crowd. Like this was all going through my head, right? And the one person that I wanted for that event was the author of them all because she had the book. And so I've been booked because like they'll buy my books for everybody in the room, and there's a value add to the community. Also, an author, like somebody maybe have read your book so they know who you are. Like, and then it becomes the most beautiful self-fulfilling prophecy. So if they've read my book, or maybe they'll come to one of my conferences. So here's another way. I throw a lot of my own conferences. So for any authors watching, you don't have to beg for somebody else's stage. You can go build your own. And so we built my own stages. And so I would throw my own book launches, my own workshops. Well, check this out. They would walk into my own workshop, and part of the ads were, hey, come down and get a free copy of my book. Well, then somebody's there in the room holding my book, literally walks up to me and goes, hey, I just heard your talk. Will you come be the keynote at my conference? Yeah. And so then it becomes this beautiful loop where like your book is getting you on stages, which is getting you on more stages, which is getting you more book sales, which is getting your book in more hands. And I love it. And so I've said this for years, my dear, like no matter who you are, if you're serious about your business, write a book. My very first book was my real estate book, which was funny. So the way I got here, and this would be good for your authors, we were part of a marketing group, and they had a guy come in talking about books and the power of being published. And I wasn't being rude, but I wasn't paying attention, if that makes sense, right? It was Wednesday night. It was 7 p.m. By now it's 8 p.m. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I've worked all day. And I show up to my marketing thing thinking I was going to learn marketing, and they have a guy talk about publishing a book. With all due respect, bud, wasn't my thing. I was a real estate agent. I was a real estate CEO of this business. It wasn't on my radar. So while he's doing his thing, I got to be honest, I was returning emails and phone calls and working on some contracts. So he finishes his speech. It's now 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night. I'm wrecked, right? And he walks up and he goes, what'd you think? And I said, hey, man, lovely presentation. Good for you. Not a thing for me. And he goes, but aren't you that badass realtor? And I go, yeah. And he goes, Nick, how many real estate agents do you know that have written books? And I go, well, none. And he goes, there's your marketing piece, son. And I went, wait, what do you mean? And he goes, you have a business card now, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, dude, if you wrote a book, you'd have a business card that's 100 pages. He goes, but let me take you a step further. And this is the day writing about changed my life forever. He goes, you would be the published author on your home selling system, bud. And he goes, so it's you versus two other realtors. Who do you think is going to get that deal? And I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. I'm in. So I hired him that night. I wrote my first book in 2 weeks, 14 days. And I wrote a book as a real estate agent in a local market. And the book wasn't meant to go on Amazon. And this is so counterintuitive. It wasn't going on Amazon. It wasn't going on Kindle. I had the books in the trunk of my car at my office, and we gave them out to clients. And I gave them out at open houses as a marketing tool. That one book landed me $1 million of sales. It was funny. We had put it on Amazon just to like use like the Amazon logo. And a guy reaches out to me, very rude. He's like, hey, man, looks like you've sold 2 copies of your book. I think I can help you. And I hit him back. I said, hey, with all due respect, man, I'm at like $1 million of revenue on that book. And he had a meltdown. He's like, wait, what? That's not possible. I was like, I know. We think write book, sell book, write book. I was like, no, no, no. Book becomes a door opener. And at the time, our commission was $8,000 to $10,000. I was giving books out like hotcakes because you can get a book printed for $4, $5. And so I would throw those all over town. And that's how I wrote my first book. And it became my ultimate business card. When I became a business coach, I wrote my second book. As I became a motivational speaker, I wrote my third book, and I'll write a fourth. I couldn't believe in writing a book more. So if you're listening to this and you're on the fence, write a book. It'll change your life. I've helped so many friends write books. That's just my thing. Like Nikki T's like, dude, write a book. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
So what you're saying is if you write a book, don't write it to sell it, write it to be your business card to open up opportunities.
That strategy for me has made millions of dollars. I didn't go the route of selling a million books for and making $4 royalties. That's not what I did. I had, when I first started, I had a real estate business. We wanted $10,000 commissions. I used the book to get me more $10,000 commissions. So I would happily trade a $4 book to make
Right.
10 grand all day long. Oh, but Nick, you got to give out 30 of them, bro. I'll give you $200 of marketing data, marketing tools for a 10 grand commission. And then we did the same with my coaching book. We turned that into an online sales funnel, and I gave away free digital copies to get people in my ecosystem. And then we sold coaching for $5,000 or $10,000. And that made its own batch of millions. And it's just a strategy that worked really well for me. I'm not knocking the ladder. I'm not knocking any of that. But if you're a coach or a consultant or have a product like a loan officer, I've helped a lot of realtors. Like if you're a consultant, we have a CPA. She just wrote a book. Dude, honey, give that book away to 10,000 people. I'll share with you a wild story. This is a really true story. A mentor of mine, Mr. Jordan Adler, Beach Money. I hope he gets to hear this. He is just a living legend. He had wrote a book, Beach Money. It's his book. It's a great book. Go to Amazon, buy it. Beach Money, and there's better than Beach Money. And we had him give a speech at one of my private masterminds, and I had the honor to talk to him, to MC, not MC, what's the word I'm looking for, interview him. And he had shared the story of how he went into a room, and I'm going to butcher the story. I'm going to do my best to summarize it from what I understand. They had 20 authors on this conference, and all the authors got on stage, buy my book, $19.99, $14.99, $24.99. What Jordan Adler did, which was sheer brilliance, is he walked on stage and he brought a copy of his book for the everybody that was in the crowd. 5,000 people in the crowd. He gave away a book, $5 or $10. And instead of trying to sell it, and he gave first. He gave first. He added value. And I asked him, and I said, what do you think that book did? He goes, well, Nick, within a month or two, one of those people brought me $1 million account from the room. I went, wow. And I said, what do you think when it's all said and done? He's like, multiple millions from that speech. He goes, that's the mindset. He goes, I want to give and build big businesses and build collaborations and build partnerships. Most people want to make their $8 a book. And he's like, do you see the difference there? And this is from a multimillionaire's mindset. And I just went, thank you for that. And it's one of the most beautiful lessons I've ever heard. And I modeled my business off of that. Like when we go to conferences, I give my book out when you walk in the front door. No, dude, I don't need to sell. I need my data in your hands. And here's what happens. I just flew into an event Friday night. Guy pulls me aside. He goes, dude, I just read your book. I was like, yeah. And he's like, life changing. I was like, thank you. I gave it to him for free. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know you coach, you always say help more people. And I use that as my mantra, right?
I love that.
And also I follow Russell Brunson too, and he always says over deliver. And I think,
Yeah.
giving your book away for free and helping people is definitely over delivering.
So every marketing strategy is a little different, right? Can I appreciate and respect buy my book for 19.99? Yeah, and some people that works out for, but some people that are trying to build a name, I'd give it away. I'd get it in as many hands as you can. Because why? They're going to get to know you, and they're going to read your book, and they're either going to love it or not like it, and that's okay too,
Yeah.
right? And I've just found the more people I give my book to, the more doors get open, the more opportunity that I have, and that's cool. You got to do it. So.
Do you have any suggestions for people on, especially new authors, on getting more book reviews? I mean, I know that's a little bit different than just books.
Well, let's just go with what we just said, right? Watch this. What if, hypothetically, I'm not saying you do this, but I've done this and it worked out really well. What if you went to a local coffee bar, or what we did? I'll share with you what we did. For my second book, I wanted to do a book launch. We called up a Mexican cantina. My buddy owned it. I bought $500 worth of tacos. Okay. And I threw a book launch there. And 150 people showed up, and I bought them tacos, and it was really beautiful. I got to sit on a chair and read some of my book and share some insights. We all ate, broke bread, and then I got a bunch of people to give me reviews on Amazon for the book right then and there. I thought that that was really cool. I have an online coach who did this brilliantly. She said, hey, I'm going to give you a free copy of this book and not charge you $19.99. But in return, I need one small favor from you. Could you hop over to Amazon and give me a review? And that's pretty cool. You could also reach out to friends that are authors and say, hey, I'll get you a review on yours if you give me a review on mine. We could also go to each other's lists and say, hey, I'm going to email a free copy of your book to everybody on my list. In return, they're going to give you a review if you do this for me. Just being a good human being, man. And that's pretty powerful, right? Imagine that and getting 200, 300, 400 reviews. I think it's really cool.
Nice. I love the conference idea.
Oh, I'm big on it. Just because like you could throw a conference in your local area, teach your book, maybe bring on a couple other speakers. Then what do you have? You get to give a keynote around your book and say, hey guys, on your chairs is a free copy of my book. I would just be honored if you gave me a 5-star review. That's how we launched my second book. We threw a big conference and nobody knew I had written the book with my partner Jason. And they broke for lunch. And when they came back after lunch, 500 chairs in the room, and there was 500 of my books laid out. And it was really funny because I hadn't written a book about business, and I come walking through after lunch, and this is brand new to me, Stacy. We're a day old, right? And a young guy runs up to me, and he's holding my book, and he's like, will you sign it? And I go, because it hadn't, I go, sign what? And he's like, your book. And I was like, oh, cool. That's how we launched that. And it was really cool is we took a selfie with 500 people holding up a copy of our book. And that was the marketing image for our book, which was really cool. And so just doing fun, I'm goofy. Like I like to do fun stuff like that. You could do an Instagram giveaway. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do. You could send it to a bunch of people, go, hey, I'm going to mail you a copy of my book. All I ask in return, throw me a review. And like, who doesn't want to do that for a friend? Like there's a business I went to down the street, the cold plunge and sauna. I love the company. I love the owner. Of course, I went to Google and gave him a 5-star review. He's a business that I believe in, and people want to help the right people.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a book signing event on Tuesday. So any advice that you can give me would be awesome.
Well, what's the event? And I'll give you some advice right now.
Well, it's at a business I know. I know you don't drink, but it's a distillery because I know the owners. But they have so I'm just gonna go there. It was an Eventbrite thing, so it's online, and they you signed up because it's a small venue. It's like
Yeah.
maybe you'll fit 50 people or whatever. And then I just talk about my book. And I don't know if you suggest like reading a chapter from it or something.
Yeah, I would go to your favorite Hey guys, real quick, I thought it'd be cool to kick off the new book. Can I read you my favorite chapter in the book? And I would sit and I would read it and I would kind of pause and then tell us like, hey, why I wrote this was this. And then, hey guys, I brought you I would bring a free copy for everybody that's there personally. And then I would say, hey, can I ask one big favor? Can we take a big group photo? Which like, think about the marketing image on this, right? Everybody like, would be so freaking rad. Then you take that image and post that to social media and run an ad with it and say, hey, I know you couldn't make it down to the distillery. However, we did a book launch. I want to get you a free copy of my book or I'll give you a half off discount. Come on, girl. That'd be so huge. And then, hey, everybody that's here, could I just ask a huge favor? I'm trying to get the word out there, da 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 da. People want to help people, dude. If you're doing an awesome stuff, heck yeah, my dear.
Awesome. Thank you. That's
Do that group
excellent
image
advice.
photo. Trust me, I did it. It was life-changing for me to stand on stage with my new book and everybody holding my book. And what we had done, we had got hoodies matched to match the name of the book. Funny story, because we're on a podcast and people are listening. It was in the middle of summer in Phoenix, Arizona. But inside of most conference rooms, they're really, really cold usually, right? So I thought, oh, we could pull off hoodies. It'll be really cool for the photo. So we're in hats and hoodies. Well, Stacy, the air conditioner broke in the hotel
Oh
ballroom
no.
2 hours before the speech. I don't have any other clothes because I had planned on that for the launch. So me and my best friend who wrote the book were just like sweating bullets up there. Oh my God. And there's just so many memories. It was funny because we have a lot of home service guys in our community. So my local heating and cooling guys like, let me get on the roof, I'll fix it. It was just like it was chaos. I sweated through everything I was wearing, but we got the photo. That's all that matters. And I was wearing black, so you couldn't see that I was sweating too much. But yeah, I like to do fun stuff like that because I think if I believe in my book and I'm doing fun stuff like that, other people will engage in that excitement, if that makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then turning that online. And what I would do is, this would be really brilliant if I were you and anybody listening. When you're at the distillery, I would do this. Hey guys, Stacy here. I just got done reading them a chapter of my book. Hey guys, how'd you like it? We loved it. Cool. Hey, I know you can't make it here, but I want to give you a free copy of my book too. Go to stacysbook.com below. And I would feed off that energy and use that distillery to shoot content, and not to get super in the weeds on you, but I would have somebody come film that because this is a speech and I'm very proud of you. Then I would take that and get a bunch of clips out of that. And now you have a bunch of clips for reels and TikToks and YouTube shorts. Like, you can never go wrong by getting in front of people. And that's where I like to, back to my point of give your book away, dude. Like, and this is the thing, like, not to go off on a tangent, but if you're not a Tony Robbins, a Gary Vee, if you're not a Mel Robbins, dude, you can't demand 50 grand, 100 grand speeches, man. And so you'd be shocked how many times, Stacy, I would go speak on my own dime just to give them a copy of my book to meet 200 new people, to meet 500 new people. It's powerful stuff, my dear. To get the reviews, to get the tractions, to get the Instagram. And you could also say this, hey, can I ask a favor? Can you go tag me on Instagram and you can get followers that way? Man, these are some good ideas.
I know. You're just full of them today.
Don't get me started on it. As you can tell, I believe in writing a book very much so.
Do you have anything else? Just wrapping up, do you have anything else to share about like to nonfiction authors who have businesses that would be helpful, or just anything? I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, so we'd love for you to share.
Yeah, a couple things. Like, if you're considering writing your book, do it. It changed my life. I will speak to this. I was the guy who had my high school girlfriends write my papers for me. True story. Like, real. I wasn't really good at stuff like that, and I was really nervous to write a book. And I'm not worthy. I'm not an author. And I've heard that so many times. So you are, though. That's the thing, is an author is just an expert. And the thing that you have to understand, for those listening, a lot of people that have published books had a ghostwriter and they just sat and got interviewed. Like, a lot of the gurus that you follow, guys, there's this crazy misperception of, like, we go to a cabin in the woods like Stephen King, and so there I was, snow was falling down, and like there's a cackle into the fireplace and you got like a tea and like this weird sweater. It doesn't work that way. A lot of the larger people that you follow, they sit down in a room with a ghostwriter and the ghostwriter interviews you, then they write the book. And so for me, I talk out my books. That's how I write my books, is I will talk them out on a voice memo and then have somebody help me put my words together. You can do a lot of that with ChatGPT too, and help organize your thoughts. And I would say, I would speak to that person first and say, if you feel you're not worthy, or I'm not an author, homie, I wasn't either. I grew up in a single wide trailer on a prairie, dude. Like, and it was interesting when I wrote my first book, I gave it to my mom. She goes, my baby boy's an author. And I said, I know, right? And for me, I think that moment was life changing for me, to prove that you could actually do anything you want to do. And the world that we're in right now with Amazon and Kindle, Amazon Direct Publishing, KDP, there's some really beautiful tools. Like, there's people out there that have book outlines and will build your book for you. Like this, for example, like, I didn't make this cover, dude. Like, go find the person that's really good at it. I called up our publisher. I was like, hey, I need a book cover. Here's what I'm thinking. And she came up with the most beautiful book cover I've ever seen. And so find the who, not the how, right? And so, like, if you're nervous to write a book, just go do it, man. Like, I will tell you this, when you're 85, you're going to regret not doing it. Do it. Just hone in. But, like, the thing I will tell you is, this is some real stats for you. So there are more PhDs than there are published authors walking the earth. There are more PhDs than there are published authors. Okay, why? Well, it's hard. Less than 1% of the world will ever write a book. And I would just challenge you, if this is the thing that you've said you're going to do, and just to speak to this, I hear this all the time. If you're listening to me, I bet you've felt this before. I'm going to write a book. You said that 5 years ago. You said that 4 years ago. You said that 3 years ago. I wrote this literally in 11 days. It's not a time problem, dude. It's not a resources problem. It is a sheer discipline and focus problem. And I would say, if you're listening to me now and you're still on this episode 42 minutes in or whatever, some part of you wants to follow through on that book. How do you do it? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. Just start with one chapter. Start with your table of contents. And so 95% of people that start a book will never finish it. This is a real statistic. Only 5% that start a book. And think about how many authors have you spoken to? I got this book idea. If I have one more person come up to me and say, I have this idea, then do it. Like the thing is, you're telling me this beautiful story. You're selling me on the story. Dude, go sell yourself on why you should finish this story. And I just think for me, going through and doing that, I don't have a college degree. I'm a community college dropout. I didn't go get the medical degree. And for me, the day I got published, I was like, I have a plaque on the wall now. Like for me, it was like, yeah, dude, you might have a PhD, a doctorate, a bachelor's. I never had that chance, right? I couldn't afford college. I couldn't. I lost my football scholarship when I got hurt. And it was just, for me, when I did this, I just went, okay, I've done something. And I was so proud of it. And I would just say to you, if that's you, go finish through on that, man. Like, even if you don't publish it, hand it to your kids and say, Mom wrote a book. It's so powerful. And I know we all do well with deadlines. I would put a deadline and say, hey, find the date that's coming up for you. Okay. And I love doing this no matter what your goals are. Here's a piece of advice. You have upcoming a birthday, an anniversary, a kid's birthday, anything, a holiday, whatever. By my birthday, 2026, I'm going to have the book written. Or, hey, by Christmas this year, I'm going to lose the 50 pounds. And I just love deadlines. And I would put a deadline on it. And then instead of waiting on it, I would start walking as if you are that person today. So in my book, we actually call it the highest and best you. Today, you might not know how to do it, but the ultimate version of you does. And somebody else has done this before. So just show up today like that person. Hop on your journal like that person. Okay, cool. This is my 5th book. How would I go about writing it? How would Mel Robbins write this book today? Right? And like take the people that you look up to and say, how would she show up to this book interview? How would she show up to her content? And I would start showing up as that person every single day. And what happens is you pull from this big, crazy, beautiful version of you into today and start moving and shaking like them. So we don't get what we want. We get what our identity is. And our identity then is how we follow through on our daily habits and disciplines. So if you say, no, I'm an author and I write every day, well, yeah, that's what Stephen King would do. That's what your favorite author would do. They would write every single day. Yes. Okay, cool. So tomorrow morning, find your block of time. Okay, cool. At 8 a.m., I'm going to pour a cup of coffee. I'm going to pour a matcha. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write for a 30-minute block. And if you did that 7 days in a row, on day 8, you are now a writer. Like, let that sink in. I would say start there. I think that's follow through. Start moving and shaking like that person. Give yourself a deadline and write your book.
Yeah, it took me 20 years to write my book, but once I decided to actually sit down and do it, only took me 8 months. So,
And I bet you if you did it again, it would take you 4 months,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Because it wasn't the 20 years. It was you to make the decision and step into the identity. And here's
Yeah.
what's crazy is you were no different the 20 years than you are now. You just made a decision and you just reshaped that identity. And I just think that that is the coolest freaking thing on the planet, that today I can make a decision to not be my past. I could make a decision to let that go. And then I could just make a decision to start moving as if I am that person. Neville Goddard calls it the laws of assumption. And you just start assuming as if you are that person and start moving as if you are the best-selling author. You start talking as if you're the best-selling author. You start going to coffee shops, bookstores as if you're the best-selling author and be like, oh, congrats to him. I'll see him at the convention, you know? And like you start putting yourself in those environments. I'll finish with this story. When I was a kid, I grew up watching the movie Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze, my favorite movie. And I lived in a prairie in Arizona, and there's no oceanfront property in Arizona. And I wanted to surf my entire life. Got a chance to move to San Diego. And when I moved here, I wanted to surf, and I was so afraid of it. But you have to identify as that, right? Well, I've never done this before. I don't know how to do it. So I started going to the surf spots in the mornings with a cup of coffee and just started to like talk to people. I went to the surf stores and bought hats and hoodies so I looked like them. I started talking like them. I started identifying with them. I bought a surfboard. I started getting in the water. And you just have to put yourself in that environment. And now I'm a surfer. Like that's what I do. And I enjoy it. And what's so interesting is like you have to put yourself in those environments. And I always say there's only one way to learn to surf. You actually have to get in the water. And I think so many people want to sit and watch a YouTube video, watch a TikTok, stand on the sand, stand on the shore. You have to get in the water. And the same is true with your book. Call up a publisher and say, make my book cover. That's where I would start with if I was everybody. Call and get your cover done first, because now you see it in real life. Then do your table of contents and then just write your first chapter. If you can get that far, you got 9 more chapters to go, might as well finish it.
Yeah. Do you think like affirmations and gratitudes and meditations help with trying to become like who you are before you're really there, if that makes any
Uh,
sense.
yeah, you were telling me about some affirmations you did today. How'd that make you
Yeah.
feel?
Well, I say affirmations every day, but yeah, you sent me a meditation that really helped, and it had a lot of affirmations in there. So,
Yeah, what I do a lot of, Neville Goddard calls it living in the end. So in essence, if you're listening, sit down. I call it my dream life manifesto. And you describe what the end looks like, right? Like, okay, cool. I have the book. We've sold this many copies. Here's the impact. Here's how I feel. Here's the lives we've touched. Here's what it feels to get an award, to be a bestseller, whatever that thing is. And you start to create a mind movie around that so you can see yourself in that and feel yourself in that. And then when you come back to today, it's like, well, I want that. Well, then how would that person show up today? I love that concept so much. Is like, well, how would they train today? Like, how would they write today? So I'm just in love with this so much is no, I don't know how, I'm not there yet, but he or she does because they're the ultimate version of me in this future fantasy. I could grab them today and make them my other self. Oh, this is some deep stuff, and that's how you start showing up for the world. And what's crazy is then the world aligns. I have a story for you on this. So I go to my gym. I'm at a UFC boxing gym, and I went there to just get on the treadmills and start lifting weights. And you're around boxers and fighters and kickboxers and stuff. And a few months ago, I was like, oh, I want to box. But then what happens? That's not you. Never done that before. The little bad wolf on
Mhm.
my shoulder, right? Who are you to be doing this? So one day I decided that I have to get in the water. So I walked upstairs and I bought a set of boxing gloves. And now I have the gloves. And I go down to the boxing bag and start like hitting it. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And it's awkward and it hurts and I'm uncomfortable. And I think people are staring at me, laughing at me. And then one day I meet Coach K. He's a gold medal winning boxing coach, kickboxer from Jordan. And I said, hey, man, would you be my mentor? He says, say less, bro. And I started boxing with him and I started boxing with him. I started pulling from what I saw myself as a boxer and somebody that trains and somebody that does this. And I started training with him. And I'm proud to report I am literally a boxer now, like within a matter of a month. Like this is just, it's absolutely mind blowing. Like I'm sitting here boxing with the guy every single week. I have a coach and we box, and this is what we do now. And it's the coolest thing ever. I'm doing something I never dreamed I would thought I would do, but I found out where I wanted to go, started doing it today, got around people doing it. I got mentorship for people around me, and it's the coolest thing on the planet. And so if you're trying to be an author, be a podcaster, YouTuber, lose weight, up your relationships, whatever that thing is, just start acting as if the best version of you is doing it, and then it'll start aligning for you.
Yeah, just start taking action. That's the most important thing. And like you
Correct.
said, have a deadline too, because that helps for
Yeah.
sure.
And when you start taking action, you actually start becoming. And to me, Tony Robbins calls it progress. Like, if you want happiness, just get momentum and progress because now you're moving closer. Like, check this out. I wanted to write the book. No, no, no. I started the book. No, no, no. I'm on my fourth chapter. There's a big difference in the verbiage of no, my book cover's done. And so I go for small baby achievements and accomplishments. And that right there is the sweetest spot. And to me, I have so much respect for somebody that was terrified to do it, got in the game, and hey, I'm not done yet, but I got 2 chapters done. That right there, I'm like, yes, because now you're doing it, and now you're getting momentum, you're getting victories, you're getting confidence, and the best part is you could document the whole journey on your social media and say, hey, I'm done with chapter 1. Hey, I'm done with chapter 2. And so you're actually pre-selling your book and pre-building your community while you're writing the book, which is really cool too, and you're getting support along the way.
Yay. So just to wrap this up, could you tell people how to get a hold of you if they're interested in learning more about you?
I'd say my Instagram, Nicholas, it's just my name, Nicholas Trevillian. Go to Instagram. It's my name everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, my YouTube channel. But if you go to my Instagram, that's kind of the hub for my content. There'll be a link to my book. There'll be a link to my podcast. You can see my podcast clips. If you like podcasts, it's Triumphant with Nicholas Trevillian, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Just check out my name on Instagram. Shoot me a message. I'd love to hear too if you're still listening to us. Go shoot me a message with something that you learned or took away, or if there's anything I can do to support you. I'm truly honored, and it's been an honor to be here, Stacy. Truly.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your journey and the powerful message behind your book and your business. Your story is a reminder that setbacks don't define us and how we rise from them does. Remember, your story matters, your message has power, and your next chapter can be triumphant. Until next time, keep writing, keep building, and keep believing.